Hi guys, I'm dropping in with an extra video this week because I'm sharing something kind of special with you. I'm doing my first collaboration video with my new friend V over at V Love and Crystals. V runs a delightful tarot channel. Anyway, V and I decided that we were going to put our little magical heads together and share with you 5 of our favorite witchy tarot decks. V reached out to me through Etsy. We were talking back and forth and just having a good old time. She does tarot reviews, she does deep dives into different decks, and she also does tarot readings. So if you're looking for a reading, definitely go and check out her channel. And she was like, hey, we should do a collaboration video. And I thought it was a fantastic idea. So her suggestion was that since it's the season of the witch, we would do our favorite witchy tarot decks. And I thought, what a great idea, you know, that is. But there's a couple of things about me, and one of them is something you probably don't know, and the other one is something that you probably do know if you've been watching my channel. The first thing is the thing that you might not know about me is that I don't actually own any decks that have like witches and witch hats and riding brooms or any witch themed specifically decks. Though I do consider all of my tarot decks to be witchy because I am in fact a witch, so that works out. The other thing that you do know about me if you've been watching my channel is that I like to make the best out of what I have on hand. And since, like I said, I consider all my tarot decks to be witchy, I just grabbed the ones that I find the most magical and I decided to bring those out and share them with you. These are the decks that I use the most, some of them that I use in spell work or that I use for my own divination or that I use for doing readings for family or friends. Now that's not to say that I don't want to own witch-themed tarot decks. I actually have a couple that I really kind of have my heart set on. And so we will see if those end up perhaps under my Yule tree this year. If I do get any, I'll definitely share them with you guys. But yeah, there's a couple that are firmly on my wish list. One of them is Everyday Witch Tarot by Deborah Blake and illustrations by the amazing Elizabeth Alba. That's just a gorgeous deck, and I would love to get my hands on a copy of that. I've been actually lusting after that one for quite some time. The other one is the Halloween Oracle, which I'm just, again, I really want a copy of that deck. That is, to me, just astounding. And yeah, it's been on my wish list. I just don't have it yet. Also that Halloween Tarot, which is super cute. So anyway, 5 witchy tarot decks. Let's get down to it. The first one I want to share with you is one of my all-time favorite decks. And yes, it's the Rider-Waite Smith deck, which some people love and some people not so much because it's really old school. I love it because it's old school. Now this specific edition that I want to share with you is the Pamela Colman Smith Commemorative Edition. Love this. Comes with all kinds of goodies here. I'll open it more this way. When you open it up, I mean, it's got this big, firm, beautiful box that it comes in. Let's see. And if you open this side, it's got a couple of books in here. Pictorial Key to Tarot, which was, you know, the book originally written by A.E. Waite. He was the collaborator with Pamela Colman Smith on that old deck. And she's a hero of mine, and I think she's wonderful and witchy. I always remember her on Samhain by making her favorite drink of choice, Opal Hush, at my house. And the recipe for that is in my Llewellyn's Little Book of Halloween, but I digress. It's also got this beautiful book that's full of all kinds of her illustrations and stuff like that, you know. It's her story. If you're a big fangirl like I am of her work, it's just got all kinds of stuff in there. Pictures of her and a lot of her interesting artwork and things like that she's done through the years. She's done more obviously than just the tarot deck, but it also includes all of these really cool, if I can get them out of here, a bunch of these really cool little postcards and prints. Really interesting. That's one of the cards, of course. A lot of her interesting stuff that's in here, and then some bigger prints as well. There's a stack of them in here. So it came with a lot of treasures, but then when you open up the other side, that's where the deck is kept. But of course my deck isn't kept in there because I use it. This is a really cool edition. It's got her signature on the back with the little Tudor rose. Everybody knows this deck, don't they? You know. But the cool thing about this one is it's a modern printing of it, but it's printed from scans of an old printing. So if that makes sense, it looks like what the deck was kind of when it came out, a more decent version of it. So I think it's kind of cool because it's really old school and it makes me feel witchy when I use it. The star, love. I feel like it's a little piece of history and it's an important deck to me. And I love, again, I love thinking of Pixie Pamela Coleman Smith during this time of the year, and in February when we share a birthday, or we share a birth month, I should say. Deck number 2 that I want to share with you is the Shadowscapes Tarot by Stephanie Poimunla, which I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. So this deck, and again, I'm like obsessed with card backs. I love pretty card backs, and this one is beautiful. She does really nice work. Anyway, I had the pleasure of meeting her at INETS years ago, and that was where I got this deck, and she autographed the book for me, so that was pretty cool. But I mean, to me, this deck is wonderful for using for meditation work. The cards are just dreamy. They're just dreamy. So pretty. I just love this deck. I think it's fantastic. It's also a great deck for me. I love using this one for spell work as well, because I feel like the images are just, to me, they just evoke magic. I mean, Ace of Cups, if you wanted to do, you know, some work relating to emotional stuff. I mean, these are, oh, they're so pretty. I mean, look at that Knight of Wands. Seriously, that is amazing. So yeah, this is one of the decks that I love to use for spell work. I mean, if you were working on like a spell for inner strength, I can't even imagine a better image than that, right? Holy moly. So yeah, that's one of my definitely favorite witchy decks. And it's witchy because I use that for witchcraft sometimes. I store it in a nice little bag. Again, this one's not in the box because I use it. So the next 2 decks, I have a confession to make. These are decks that I did the artwork for. Again, they are witchy decks because they were created by me and they were created magically. I work herbs into the paint of all of my artwork. So yeah, these are definitely witchy because they were created by witchcraft. And my partner on this deck was Linnea Weatherstone, who wrote the beautiful book and is just a visionary. And these are legit decks that I use a lot too. So the first one is Mystical Cats Tarot. And I'm just going to give you a quick overview this time because we're just showcasing these decks. I will probably dive deep into this deck at some point in the future on my channel, and maybe if you guys are interested in knowing more about some of the backstory behind some of these cards, drop me a comment down below and let me know. Honestly, I cannot wait to see which cards V is going to showcase on her channel. V over at V Love and Crystals, because she's got a lot of decks. So I'm very curious to see which ones that she decides to use. You know, I'm not really doing readings over here on my channel yet, but V does readings over on her channel. So if you guys are interested in getting a tarot reading, go and scroll through. I tried it and I really had some pretty good luck. Those readings that I got from her channel were spot on. So definitely check V out over at V Love and Crystals. So I'm gonna get into my Mystical Cats Tarot. Now I store these in one of these bags. We sell these on our Etsy store. Mystical Cats Tarot has its very own Etsy store because it's so much art, you know what I mean. But anyway, card backs, as I mentioned, super important to me. And I wanted to make sure the card backs for these were cool too. So we created this really cool kind of cat shield. But I'll just show you a few of these. Demon cat. That would be the devil card. Like this guy. 2 of earth cats. These are divided into earth, air, fire, and water cats. I really had fun working on these. I love the red-winged blackbirds flying through the air on this one. We wanted to create cats doing cat things. We didn't really want cats in clothes or, you know, things like that. The death card. That's honestly one of my favorites from this deck. It was kind of a big challenge. Good kitty. Which would be judgment, but of course cats all judge themselves as being good. I love this guy. The priestess. It's pretty easy to find your own cat in this deck. They live on these cards. And I love working with this deck. For me, it really works well for me. That brings us to the second deck in this grouping that is one that I created. And then I have one more at the end that isn't one of mine. Magical Dogs Tarot. And that's a new one that came out last year. And yes, you might notice the last name on the box. My partner on this project was my husband, Dan. And yeah, he wrote the lion's share of the book for this. And I just love it, the book. I really love that card. And I store this one in a tin. Dan makes these on our Etsy store, the tins, the bags, and all kinds of other stuff. Let me throw this around. Anyway, Magical Dogs Tarot is just, this was just a labor of love to create, and I love all of the dogs in this. They all have such personality. I would also be happy to do a deep dive into this deck and talk about it some more with you guys as well. There's what the back looks like. The dogs in their dog world are a little more primitive than the cats in their cat world, because cats seem to really prefer to have the life, you know. They want all the opulent, beautiful things. They want everything, you know, elegant, and a dog is just happy to roll around in some dirt and just hang out. So we kind of gave them a more primitive world, and I'll just briefly go over some of these cards with you guys. There's the Hermit, the Empress, Ace of Sky. And again, we did these elemental. They're named after the elements. This is the death card that we did for this one here. That Mystical Cat's death card was a tough act to follow. So I was pretty pleased with how this one came out. I just feel like those are important cards. The Kings and Queens are the alpha male and female dogs. And I had to do a Dalmatian for the Fire King, right? The Chariot. That was one of the first cards that we came up with the idea for. One of them. Earth Puppy. And his little friend, the fox, for a C. And to me, these are very witchy because, again, they were created with magic, you know. Oh my gosh, the Emperor. That's my sister's dog, Hank. He's crossed the Rainbow Bridge, but he lives on in this card. So anyway, if you guys want to know more about this deck, again, let me know in the comments below, and I would be happy to show you more of my magical dogs. That's the magical dog that you hear barking sometimes in the background in my videos. That's Freya. So anyway, that is Magical Dogs Tarot. And my final deck, which I kind of cheated on this one because it's really not a tarot deck, but to me this one is like super witchy. And again, it's one that I use a ton. Loreton Lenormand Oracle. And I just love these. This is a historical deck. These aren't modern illustrations, they're historical illustrations. They're really old. And again, oh my gosh, I love the back of that one. These are huge though. And the original Lenormand cards, or Lenormand, I hear people pronounce them nicer, but I'm just some chick from the Midwest with bad light. Why? So anyway, these are really big cards compared to, you know, like say my Rider-Waite Smith. They're quite a bit larger, as you can see. Historically, these cards would have been smaller than standard decks. I'd love to get my hands on like an old original one. That would be really cool. But with these big ones, you know, they shuffle okay. I have kind of long fingers, so I have kind of an easier time, I guess, shuffling a big deck like this. For me, this is like a super witchy deck because it's a deck that I use, and because it's like different than tarot, because for me with tarot, the answers tend to be a little more esoteric. But for me, I've noticed that with Lenormand cards, they're just like no nonsense, straightforward answers. Kind of more like what you see is what you get, you know, the book. And, you know, because it's closed, it can symbol like knowledge, more information, paperwork. You know what I mean? It's not like some esoteric thing. Mice. And mice would symbolize, you know, like stuff getting messed up, chewed up, stuff like that, you know. Little things happening behind the scenes to make everything kind of go bonkers. The fox, and that can symbolize work, or it can also symbolize a trickster, kind of someone who's maybe not trustworthy, who's kind of sneaky. The key, you know, the key is the key to unlock everything. The snake, look out, because there's somebody, you know, maybe gonna backstab you, or somebody who's double deal. The child, it can literally represent a child. So these are beautiful cards too. I just love these. I think they're really pretty. The other thing that to me is super witchy about these is you'll notice the playing card references on the top. Back when I was in high school, I learned how to read cards using regular playing cards because that was all I had at the time. And so this kind of takes me back to those early beginnings. So yeah, I love working with these. I don't generally use the book that's included with this deck. You know, it's a little book. And for people who want to use that, I guess, you know, that's all fine and good. The book that I use with that deck is actually The Essential Lenormand by Rana George, who is the queen of Lenormand as far as I'm concerned. She really knows her stuff. And this is a huge book full of really good information on the cards. And this is someone who eats, sleeps, breathes Lenormand. So if you want to learn how to use these kind of decks, Rana is your girl. And she actually has designed her own, which is also on my wish list, and I don't have. But yeah, she's designed her own deck too. But she has been working with this system since she was a child. Her family works with Lenormand decks, so she really knows her stuff as far as these are concerned. So that's a good place to start. If you're Lenormand curious, that's probably your best place to start. So I've littered up my dining room table with all of my favorite magical witchy decks that I love to work with. This was really fun, kind of getting to just show you a brief overview of some of my decks that I love. And collaborate with V from V Love and Crystals over on her channel. V, I can't wait to see what you have shared. I wonder if you shared anything that's on my wish list. I bet you did. Please go check her out and see which witchy decks she has shared, because she probably has some actual witchy decks with witches in them. I'm just betting that she does. And while you're there, check out some of her other videos too, because like I said, she does great readings. She's a hoot. I just think she's terrific. So this was really fun to collaborate with UV, and everybody go check her channel out too. And if you're new coming over here from V's channel, welcome. I've got lots of spells, witchy tips, and tricks here for living your magical life. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so that you'll get notifications when I upload new videos. And definitely leave me a comment and let me know if you want me to dive deep into any of these decks and maybe tell you some backstories behind Magical Dogs and Mystical Cats Tarot, because guys, I got some stories to tell about those cards, okay? Thanks, everybody. Have a great day, and remember, as always, to be your magic. Bye.